Welcome to episode number 2 of Culture Vultures, where we talk about tonight is the election. That's what we're going to talk about.
Debate breakdown.
Debate
Yeah.
breakdown. So,
If you can call it that.
I'm just going to go ahead and let you start on that.
Okay, well, like I said, if you can even call it a debate, I would not use that word. There was no honest debate about anything. It was constant interruptions, name calling,
Clowns.
complete chaos. I mean,
I actually thought that Chris Wallace actually did better in the debate than Biden did debating Trump at one point. And I almost felt like Chris Wallace and Trump were going at it more than...
well, they had to, because Trump would, I see his strategy. I saw he had a strategy. It was to come out punching. But he never let up long enough for, I'm assuming what he was trying to do was get Biden riled up enough to where
like I said last week,
just loses it. He loses his train of thought. He gets too agitated, says something crazy.
they had him on some good drugs last night.
He was not on drugs. He was too calm to be on drugs. So the problem was he never waited and let that take effect. He just kept hitting. And it got to the point where you're just like, okay, what is the point of even having separate times to talk? Because he wasn't going to let Biden get a word in. Every time Biden said something, he was interrupting.
Well, when you're lying, when Biden's actually lying, and
Trump
he's not going to
too.
he ain't going to be called out for it.
But Trump lied all night too.
Name one. Name a lie.
Just one?
I mean, or just name a few of them.
Well, first off, he said that the mail-in ballots were rigged against him. So he's already set it up. There's mail-in ballots have been going on well before the pandemic.
And he admitted, he said they were.
No, I'm talking about the universal sending out, not the you request them, they send it, you mail it back in. Like Colorado, they send ballots out to everybody. You don't request them, they go out.
Well, that's something that we shouldn't do.
But it works for Colorado. There's no significant fraud found. There's just no history of significant fraud with mail-in voting.
But you can see where that could cause have fraud. Just because they ain't found fraud. How many times? No, I mean, hang on, listen to me for a second.
But that's anything can happen. I mean, you could say that for anything.
How many times has somebody moved or changed addresses? Or you could pick me, for example. I didn't get my address changed until a month or like 3 months ago. So my address has been the same address at your dad's for 15 years now.
Yeah. Well, whatever they're doing in Colorado works. I know people who live out there and it works.
I know people that live out there too.
And they
They're
love
potheads.
it. Well, mine are, the people I know are not potheads.
That's why most people go to Colorado. Come on.
People lived in Colorado well before us.
Yeah, but there's like a gold rush. Let's go to Colorado and get tripped out on shrooms and pot.
That's more, I think, like a tourist's idea of what Colorado is, as opposed to the people who live in Colorado.
And maybe so. Getting back to the debates, though.
But yeah, he said that the election was rigged. But unless he wins, then he believes it. Really?
Okay.
Like, what kind of argument is that? It's wrong unless I win, then it's okay. So first off, he's putting that out there. He said that the the company that that Hunter Biden worked for,
Rosemont,
but he started Rosemont Seneca. The company that took that money was Rosemont Seneca Thornton. It's a different company. So it could have been a partner, but there is no paper trail that leads back to any money going to Hunter at all. It leads back to that company, which they think he's linked to.
No,
but
there ain't no thing that he's linked to. He
No,
was on the
is
board.
linked. That's Rosemont Seneca, not Rosemont Seneca Thornton. Thornton is the key word there. It's a different company. They said that it's most likely one of the partnerships using the Rosemont Seneca name.
And where did you get that from?
From the
Source.
Dear God, was it? I don't remember now. It was a legitimate news source. Like, it wasn't like some off the wall.
Like CNN?
No, it wasn't CNN. It was. Oh, I want to say it might have been ABC or NBC or something.
Why would you, though?
But
why would there be two companies that are so close together?
Because the people, they're not saying that it's unrelated, but he's saying that he was not a founder of the company that got that money from the widow, which, by the way, is the same mayor that Trump had to try to have dealings with too. So I mean, that's just like, don't even get me started. But
that's a whole different thing.
that's what I'm saying. It's like there
Once
were people
gone to
upset because it
China,
was a corrupt man that he was trying to get, that he got money from, but Trump had tried to have business with him as well. So that argument's even out the window.
Here's my thing on that. Okay, on the Rosemont, you go to China with your dad on a trip, and you're flying to China. How long does it take to get there?
Hell, I don't know.
A while. I mean, a few hours at least, you would say. And you're going over there on business trip, and you're not talking to them about what's going on, and then you come home from China, and you got this whole new business deal with the government. Rosemont's got a business deal with the government of China.
But all this is stemming from Russia, not China.
Yeah, Ukraine.
Which is not China.
I know, but that's where he got the.
That was it. It was Moscow. It was a mayor of Moscow.
Okay, I'm talking about some more money.
Well, that's not what Trump was talking about last night. The 3.25 or 3.5
And then there's
$4.2.
4.2.
But we don't know. There is no record of who is on the board. So as of right now, we don't know who. They're very well maybe, but it's not. But you can't say for a fact that it is if you don't know. And there is, as of right now, there is no legitimate record. The thing that even when they re-released that report recently, they cited another article that did not have their source. So they cited.
You're talking about the Senate,
Republican
the committee
that they released that report, and they said, yeah, they believe that he has ties, but they cited another article where that was reported.
Yeah, you know why they're not being able to release these where it's gone to. It's because the FBI is having them jump through hoops, sending them redacted files. This week, I forgot what's his name, the lead guy on it, they had him on there, and he showed one report that they got from an anonymous source, and then they showed the other report that was redacted from the FBI, where every single line of it was redacted. And it's like you read the date, what it was, no meat.
Well, there was no documents about who was on the board of that company. There was no names listed. We don't know who that money went to, and as of right now, it's just speculation. So
can you pull up the see if you can get something on Rosemont as we go? Let's continue to go
That's what
further.
I'm doing.
Okay. So here's my takeaway,
and I want to know, what do you think that Biden was lying so much about?
That he was lying about the Green New Deal.
Here's the
What
actual
was it
investigation report from the government.
Who was on the board of Rosemont?
Of the original though, Rosemont Seneca, but Rosemont Seneca Thornton is the one that got the money.
Yeah,
That's the one we need
see
to know
the
what the
two-
board is.
The two,
That's the one
the
that he
difference between
denies
the two.
being a co-founder of the Thornton. He
Yeah.
denies it. As of right now, they don't have any definitive proof that he is
Okay.
involved with it.
So what I think he lied about, I think he lied about being him being
You said
The-
the Green New Deal. What about the Green New Deal?
that he don't support the green. He actually said that I do not support the Green New Deal.
He wrote a modified version. He has his own version of it that he supports. The one that AOC and Jill Stein and all
And-
those really more far-leaning left
Left.
environmentalists, like, they have a more extreme one, but he does have his own more middle ground version that a lot of people still think is extreme, but it's not near as extreme as the original.
About him being the Democrat Party. Where he said he
well,
goes,
right now he
I
is. He's the
am
head.
the Democrat Party. He's
That's
not.
like right now Trump is the Republican Party. He's the face. That's just how it works when you are
you get elected.
when
and
you're the representative, the top representative, you are the face of that party.
Not-
Even if you don't even necessarily represent everything that party enfolds, because both
But-
of them don't represent all of the Republican or Democrats.
Yes, but
beliefs
the majority, you got AOC in the 4, and that's the majority of the Democrat Party are leaning that way or coming up. They got a strong pack together,
But
and
that's just
I would
that's
say that-
new.
I would
Those
say
are new
they.
young people. The majority of the people in there, that's not a widely accepted thing yet. That's still kind of on the fringes. Kind of people think it's pretty extreme.
I think it's more widely accepted.
But you
than-
guys are really hung up on AOC. Like you think
don't
she is
don't
like
say me, y'all
you,
guys.
You talk about her all the time. You
well,
said,
I say
you
that
even said that you thought
because
she'd be a good vice president candidate, and
I think that no, whoa,
like
that's
you know,
not what I said.
Not that you would want her to be, but you thought she'd be a better pick than
Than
Kamala.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
But I don't believe that.
Because I believe that the young liberal people like her.
Well, they do, but there are
But
much more
I think
older people that vote than young people.
I know, but I that's why I think they're saving her for.
She's not got enough
That's
experience.
why I think they through this election they just gave it to the wolves. They
She
said,
is nowhere
Trump,
near.
you can have this election.
She's not even old enough. Like, is there an age limit on
Yes,
the?
it's like
Yes.
45,
Yeah, she's
47.
47.
40. There, I thought it was 37 to be president. What about vice president? I think it's 37.
Look
But,
that up real fast.
I think it's 37. But she just is barely in her 30s. She's not even old enough.
I think that they threw this one away.
35 years old for U.S.
35.
For vice president.
35. Okay. Yeah, so she's not
Or
even
to be president.
vice president even. I mean, no one's going to elect her for president.
I
right
know,
now. She's
but I'm just
way too young. And way
I'm
too
surprised
far
that
left
people
for the main
elected
party right
her.
now.
Elected her to be a senator.
She's not a senator. She's in the House of
Well,
Representatives.
yeah, House of Representatives,
No,
senators.
35 years old for president, too.
I thought
President,
it was.
I mean, I knew it
I
was
said
30s
45,
for president.
but 35
Be
something.
at
I knew
least
it was a
35
5.
years old and have been a resident of the United States for 14 years.
14, yeah. I just didn't know if it was the same for vice president too. If there was
Whether it's in the House or in the Senate, she got elected to office. And
Well, yeah, but the people, you'd be amazed at the people who get elected. There's some people, even in the far right, that I cannot believe get elected. But it's just that subsection of where they live. Country's
Yeah,
different,
yes.
depending on where you live.
So,
In that report that I pulled up a while ago about Hunter Biden, he did serve on the board.
For the,
Seneca.
yeah, Rosemont Seneca. It's the Seneca Thornton that is the one
that she's saying that actually got the money.
That's the one that, yeah.
Well, they're saying on the report that it was the Seneca. Just It didn't have the Thornton on it. It's an 87-page report from the government.
Yeah, I don't know, that's just one thing broke down, because they were talking about the rebuttal.
This is the actual report.
The government released report and findings.
Well, not to take up for you, but they did say it was political. That report that came out. You know,
Hunter Biden, Burisma,
Oh,
and
basically,
corruption.
well, it was just a restatement of things that people already knew. It wasn't any new information.
Yeah, but I think that they're going to be looking into that, and you're going to have stuff like that coming from in the coming months that you're going to see. Unless Biden wins, then it's
Well, my thing
going to be
is,
swept under the rug.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I don't think it has a whole lot of bearing on how he would run the country. Just like
I do.
I don't.
And
think
this is why
that-
I do. Hang on. Let me tell you why I do. Because if you're over there and you're dealing with the Chinese and you're coming up
Say,
with
well, you've
deals,
jumped on a different subject now. I was talking about the Ukraine. I
Yeah.
mean,
or Chinese gave him money too. He got that deal after he went to China for some money, and then you got see, there's so much stuff. You got the 3.5, you got the 1.5 billion dollars that Frank got that we talked about last week to build houses in Iraq that he shouldn't have got, that Biden pushed on through. But here's my dealing is, when you got dealings in access with foreign governments, power, and you take your son on a trip with you over there, and then a couple days later, you're coming up with this company that gets, and the reason they do this and come up with different names and things is because it creates a paper trail that you can't see, whether you put Donald Trump's name on it or Hunter Biden's name on it. Let's swap out the names. You still come up with the paper trail's harder to find. You can't get caught. But when you go over there, you have a meeting with the foreign government, and then you come back and you got this money that's coming into this company. And then you go over here and you got money that's coming in. And then you got over here money that's coming in, like the 3.8 carat diamond that he got from the Chinese that he said, I just gave it to somebody. That way he didn't have to write it off on his taxes. You know, so when you're in their pocket so deep for all this businesses
but
that they gave to
But that's not
Biden.
Biden.
Okay, but you don't think Biden had anything to do with that deal?
No, I think Biden, his last name probably has something to do with it, but not him
Okay.
personally.
Biden and his son go to China.
But they didn't go to the meeting together.
Okay,
Biden
they go
had
to
his
China.
business there, and he went and did his actual business. I mean, he had like presidential stuff he was doing. He went on his business. They didn't go into this like
Okay, you
meeting
remember?
together.
Hang on. You remember when we was talking about state sponsors? They go to, and you said China's basically ran a dictatorship. Okay, so when you go over there, father and son, business-wise, and you come back after that with a deal, you don't think that they had in-betweens going on. Even left, right, conservative, libertarian, liberal, that is horse crap. If you go over there to that and you have all shake hands, la da da da, then you catch a flight back, and then money's being funneled in, carat jewelry's being funneled, billions here, millions there, yeah.
What I'm saying though is that it doesn't necessarily mean that Biden himself intervened to do anything. It could very well have been just that Hunter has that last name and they think that's an in for them. Like they get in good with him. If they praise him, he's going to put in a good word with dad, that kind of thing. Maybe they'll get more business. Like it's like a sucking up to him. But that doesn't mean that Biden himself had anything to do with it. It could very well just be the prestige of the last name and the sway that they think they might be able to get if they get in with the family.
Or the sway that we give you $3.5 million and it gives us
That's what I'm saying, though, but they
meeting
gave
with
it
your
to the
dad,
son.
and then you get this.
That's
you
what I'm
get
saying,
this.
though, is did Biden meet with them after that?
China's been.
What I'm
robbing
saying, though,
us.
is, yeah, you can run these
blind.
conspiracy theories, but sometimes it's just
When there's
people hedging their bets and trying to suck up to the people so they can get close to the top dog.
yes, sometimes it is, but I don't think it's a conspiracy theory when you got even Hunter Biden saying that he gave away the ring. They didn't build the houses in Iraq, the $1.5 billion. I think what it is, and I'm worried about, is if Biden does get elected, that China is going to be able to say, you remember all this, if all this, let's just say all this was true, and they did funnel money to Hunter Biden to get something out of it, and here and here and here. Okay, you remember that when you did that? But now if you don't do this,
They're gonna what?
We're gonna
everybody?
tell
Then
everybody,
Everybody already
and-
knows.
everybody already knows what.
Well, you're convinced that they funneled money, so people already know that
But you obviously think that it didn't happen.
that there was no money received. I don't know.
But you think that it was all by the books, no.
I'm saying I don't know, but I don't automatically.
Well, you're
assume-
defending that,
Well, I don't automatically assume the worst.
but you defended that idea. That was your idea.
That it was possible, yeah, I think that it's possible.
That
I
it
don't-
was just straight laced.
That I said that, yeah, it very well could have been.
And you said
But
Trump
you-
lied about it. That was the
That
whole.
there was no proof. They don't know for a fact that he got any money, is what I'm saying. There is no definitive proof yet.
Okay. Well, let's move on to other stuff in the debate.
How about him refusing to denounce white supremacists? Talk about that. What do you think about that?
How about last week that he made the KKK a terrorist organization?
Finally.
First president in history to do it. Even Obama couldn't do that. George Bush, Ronald Reagan. Last week, he didn't have to denounce it last night when he said last week, KKK, you're a terrorist organization.
Well,
That's
they killed-
denouncing
they
white
have
supremacy right there.
Killed hundreds and hundreds of people. It's about damn time. But
Hundreds
he
and
didn't
hundreds and
denounce the
hundreds.
Proud Boys,
What's the Proud Boys?
a crazy alt-right group.
Or is that a real group, or is that
No,
just
no, it's a
is
real
it
group.
people
Oh,
that
no,
just
let
like?
Let me.
Is that just people that like America, country
No.
boys?
No. Let me introduce you to the Proud Boys. I did some research.
On the Proud Boys?
Yes.
Well, I was wanting to stay on the debate. We're
Well,
staying
no,
on the
this
election.
has a lot to do with it. I promise.
Okay.
So, because he also mentioned Antifa.
Yeah.
Who
Is a terrorist group.
they have not been charged with killing anybody. So far. They incite violence, but they've not charged.
That's
them.
terrorizing people.
Being violent, I don't know. But
Being violent is not terrorizing.
I wouldn't call it terror, though.
Anyway, Proud
But, okay.
Boys. Look up the terrorism.
They are a far-right, neo-fascist, male-only organization. They promote and engage in political violence. Essentially, they are the right's version of Antifa. We'll say that.
Now, have they been charged with hurting anybody?
With fighting? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have they been charged with killing anybody?
No. That's what I'm saying. They're like the right's version of Antifa.
Antifa.
Like they promote violence. They like altercation. So, the founder, one of the founders said, "I want violence. I want punching in the face. I'm disappointed in Trump supporters for not punching enough." That's like, the founder. One of the former members is actually one of the people who organized, or maybe, I don't know, did I say founder or member?
Founder.
I don't know if it was a founder. I know it was a former member. Was actually the organizer of the Charlottesville rally, where they were chanting, "Jews will not replace us."
Founder was Gavin McInnes.
He's got a weird last name. Starts with an I.
Oh, well, it's MCINNES.
Yeah.
Gavin
So
McInnes.
he, like, stepped away from it.
I thought when they were saying Proud Boys, they were just talking about a country boy. They was patriotic.
No. So these people, let me tell you how crazy they are. They have an initiation process. Oh, and after last night, they said there's a huge spike in new recruits. So listen to what these people are about to get themselves into. The initiation has 4 stages.
There's a spike in new recruits
For
after
Proud Boys.
what?
After last night, after Trump told them to stand by, they said, "We will, Mr. President, standing by." They took that as an endorsement. They really did. You can find them online.
Yeah, they have a podcast actually.
Yeah. Like, it started out as a joke, this whole group, but then it took root. Last night, after he told them to stand back and stand by, because he mentioned right after that, because let me tell you, somebody has to do something about Antifa. In their minds,
He
that
was
him
talking
setting them
about-
up.
He,
I'm just
he
saying
was
he has to watch his language, because
No, well,
that is
he was talking about, and I watched this just a little bit ago because I actually fell asleep like 30 minutes to go. I'm early to
well, you
bed,
didn't miss anything.
and he was when they were telling him to denounce supremacy, white supremacy.
He said,
And-
"Tell me." Oh, he said, "Okay, give me a name. What do you want me to call him?"
Yeah,
They
And-
said, "Okay,
but
Proud
when
Boys."
he said would you denounce white supremacy, he said yes.
He said, "Sure, I
He
will.
said yeah. He
I'd
said
be willing to."
He said, "Yeah, before, under everything, you barely picked up on it." He said, "Yeah," and then they came back and said, denounce them. He goes, and then he was just like, "Okay, whatever. Who do you want me to denounce? I'll denounce them right now."
Well, he didn't denounce the Proud Boys. He has them on high alert now. They now have patches that say "Stand Back" and "Stand By" that they started passing out and selling. But this is what's funny. This is how crazy these people are. So the first stage is they have to take an oath. "I'm a proud Western chauvinist. I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world." The second part is getting punched until the person recites pop culture trivia, such as names of 5 breakfast cereals.
Can you name 5? Hang on,
While
let me
somebody's
think.
punching you, you have to think of 5 things under
Captain
reflection.
Crunch.
But imagine somebody
Raisin
punching you in the
Bran.
face, like a big dude punching you in the face, trying to think.
Raisin Bran,
So-
Captain Crunch. I'm trying to name 5 of them.
Okay,
Well, in the debate, he denounced KKK and racism, but they said he declined to denounce white supremacy.
yeah.
I think he denounced white supremacy when he said KKK is a terrorist organization and made them a terrorist organization last week. I think that's denouncing white supremacy. How is it not? KKK is white supremacy.
They used
Well,
to
hell,
be, but
they
there's
all
more.
support him.
He
So
made them
obviously he's not
he
doing
made them a
enough.
terrorist group. So what more can he do?
Stop talking so bad about people. Because it's just
He don't talk.
music to the
He
ears.
he lets, no matter who you are, what you are, he lets, no matter if you're Hispanic, black, white, brown, Muslim, Jewish, whatever it is, he's gonna look at you by your character, and he'll talk bad about anybody if they need to be, if he's the swamp. If he's got to knock them down to get to the win, to the goal line, then he's going to knock them down and get to the goal line. Now-
what did you say about the swamp?
The swamp. If he's got to fight, that's how he's got to fight. If that's how he's got to fight the swamp, then he needs to fight the swamp.
He created the swamp. He is
He
the
created
swamp
the
monster.
swamp.
Have you seen, he had, what is it, 14 of his campaign and good Lord, I'm getting tongue-tied. You get me riled up here.
How did he create the
Administrative
swamp?
people have been indicted. Like,
Yeah, like
they
flinging.
are,
He got indicted for this and that, and he's in jail and all that. And everyone should have been in jail,
well, he's out.
but he did go to jail.
He got turned that over.
Should
But
have never
I mean,
went to jail.
okay, so whatever. But there's like 14, I think I say it's 14 of them have been indicted.
Flynn got indicted.
So I'm saying he was one of the many.
Yeah,
Maybe his got
half
turned over,
of
but
he
whatever.
got
You
he,
can't say
it
that
was
he's
not guilty.
cleaning out all this corrupt when he brought
They
in
indicted
a horde
him.
of
They
corruption.
indicted people to try to get rid of him and throw charges on a bunch of people to try to spy on them. As the Russia problem was all a security blanket to try to get him impeached. Okay, let's go back to this. Ever since the very beginning he got elected, when has anybody on the left gave him a chance? Any media on the left gave him a chance.
Van Jones did.
Van Jones,
You
who's
know who Van Jones is?
no.
He's pretty bipartisan. I mean, he had a show on CNN for a while.
Well, if you have a show on CNN, I don't think you're bipartisan.
But I mean,
That's
he really
just
is. He works a lot with. He's really, really passionate about prison reform, and he works a lot with the right to try to get people to come together.
He got
Van Jones is.
he got
You have to
people-
know who he is. He's a bald black guy. He has perfectly round, clear glasses. He's very popular.
I don't know. Okay, so
But there were
did
a
he
lot
work
of
on
people-
Trump with prison reform?
Yeah, he worked with the Trump administration.
On prison reform.
Yeah, he's been
That
trying.
okay. Well, Trump's administration's the one that took care of prison reform that Biden had created.
Okay, there's
See-
not been real prison reform. He's let people out of prison, we'll say that. Prison reform means like top to bottom reform.
Well, you just ain't gonna. They just ain't gonna go in there and reform it all. Just wipe it out and start all the way over. There's got to be. You start taking sections out of it and start. Okay, these people get to go. You just can't just clean out the jails and be like, oh,
Well,
y'all all
I'm
go
not
home.
talking about just letting people out. I mean, talking about how people are profiting from incarcerating people.
Yeah,
like-
and that's a problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like that.
get-
That needs to be fixed.
Let's
Like,
go
I'm
with-
not talking about just the people who are in prison. I'm talking about the entire prison.
We're kind
System.
of getting off topic though,
Well,
'cause
yeah.
we went from talking about the election. Let's try to pull this back into the election. My take from it was last night was like yours and a lot of other people was there was no meat, there was no substance, there was just a lot of back and forth, and Biden denounced the Green New Deal, said he wasn't for the Green New Deal. He had a different deal, and it was just craziness all
Say,
over the
Trump
place.
said that that Biden was for socialist medicine, which he said, no, I'm not. I'm for the option for people to get on Medicare if they meet the income requirement, the low income requirements. They could still have their private insurance. Like, I feel like they're trying to push Biden so much more left than he really is. Biden's not really left. He is pretty middle ground and always has been.
What I'm thinking that they're doing is, and I believe this, and a lot of people do believe this, is that I'm worried how deep China's into Biden. And then I believe that and a lot of people believe that the far left people, like the AOCs, the Omars, and all them, actually will pull Biden left, and they'll be running the show, everything. Like,
I feel like
and,
y'all give
and we
them-
want
like, yeah, she has an
Prison-
important voice, but I feel like y'all,
I
the
got something
right
else
in general,
too.
give her so
We talk
much
about-
power.
we
Like,
talk
you would think
about
that she has so
prison
much sway.
prison reform, right?
Mhm.
And you just said that it needs to be turned down. Kamala Harris kept many people in jail way after they were supposed to get out to get labor.
She
Talk
doesn't
about
have a
people
purpose, like,
profiting
she does-
from prisons. That's pretty
She
profiting.
wasn't. I'm talking about the people who own the prisons are profiting from the people that are being incarcerated. That's what I'm talking about, not the politicians or anything like that. No, her record's not perfect.
You think she's not profiting from keeping people in prison longer?
As her job as the Attorney General? I mean, she was prosecuting cases. That's what her job was.
And laughing about it. You don't, I mean, that's
don't
the
think it
thing
was- I
with
mean-
politicians. That's how they make their money, is from kickbacks. I mean, you don't go into office owing school, all your school, become a politician, you spend billions of dollars on campaigning to make $400,000 a year. I think it's $460 now. And in 3 years, you're a multi-millionaire. It's like, how do you get that money? Let me talk to that person's financial people. And let's start a
Well, yeah,
401k
but people
plan
in
there.
Congress,
Well, that's everybody
in general,
in Congress.
everybody, they get paid a lot of money.
400k
Yeah.
is not all. You can't turn 400k into millions of dollars in a few years without doing insider trading, which they said they stopped and passed bills on that, getting kickbacks and doing all that.
Well,
I mean,
I'm sure there are
so
kickbacks here and there, I'm sure. But once you are in public eye, I mean, people, they'll pay you for consulting on things and giving speeches and all kinds of things.
Do you
as long as
believe
it's
that-
not-
do you believe that if you're a congressperson, that you should get paid for giving speeches while you're a congressperson?
No. I think you make enough money as a congressman. But I'm saying that.
I think that you should make so little money as a congressperson that people do not want to do it. I think it would be, and this is a radical, you talk about radical ideas. Why don't you draw 50 names out of a hat or 100 names out of a hat per each state and say, it's your turn to be senator. Out of them 50 or 60, 100 people, there's bound to be a decent person that you can vote for that's record is good, that's smart enough to be.
Yeah, but you've got to
In
have
office.
some sort of drive and intellect and know-how. You don't want to just put anybody in there.
I mean, we all know that you don't got to have a law degree and to do it, or be like that. Political science degree, you don't got to have one of those to do it. Trump's made that. He's went from you can be anything you want to be in this world. You can go
If
from
you got enough money.
two generations removed to being it. Hey, Kamala Harris, she's one generation removed from
Yeah,
being
because
it,
both of her parents went into very prestigious
and now
jobs.
she's want to be vice president.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but I think that they need to get on to the meat of it, like
But they've got to.
Kevin O'Leary. You know who Kevin O'Leary is?
I don't know.
Shark Tanks.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, he was talking about this morning that you got to know where to put your money. Do you need to spend capital now? Do you need to save? Do you need to invest here, invest there? They're not giving no meat to their policies on where they need to put their money and everything. And I think that Trump needs to just let Biden open his mouth. I think he was actually doing a pretty good job at the beginning of, he came out, he made a couple jabs, and he was sitting back letting Biden talk. And I was like, yes. I actually texted a buddy and I was like, he's doing it, he's doing it, he's doing it. And about 10-15 minutes later, it was like, why are you not still letting him talk?
Because he couldn't help himself. His impulse control. He gets so angry and he just has to keep going.
But he was doing it. He was winning. And I think he still won last night.
No.
So
First off, there was no winner.
So
Period. But if there was a loser, the clear loser was Trump. Not based on any sort of policies, nothing like that. Just based on pure behavior,
that's just like
but
a
what about
hatred.
Biden calling him a clown and?
I don't agree with that. That's what I said. Neither one of them were.
Yeah, I mean, he
not,
was continuously calling Trump names throughout the whole debate.
I was not at all impressed with Biden.
He refused to call him president, refer to him as president. It was Donald or clown or some off-the-wall name that he came up with.
When he started, he said, "Thank you, Mr. President." But then the jab started, and it started irritating him. Mm-hmm. So he started. I said the first time that he kept.
What really got under his skin is when he was talking about Bo and
that was
Trump.
Pure disgusting on Trump's part. I'm just gonna say.
What?
That he interrupted. He knew.
No, he didn't.
He 100% knew
that
he
was
brought up
talking
military, that he was talking about his dead military hero son. Everybody knew that. You don't have to be a Democrat. You don't have to be a Republican.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Who else would he have been talking about?
Only son that I've ever heard about or known about was Hunter. That's serious.
But he's like the lesser known son. That's so strange that he's the one that only one you've ever heard of.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard of it.
Bo was a military hero. He served in Iraq. He died of brain cancer. And he was talking about him as being proud of him. And he was mentioning the fact that Trump previously had said that people who joined the military, he didn't understand the sacrifice, that he thought they were suckers. Which he has said stuff about military people before. He got
just because
he didn't like John McCain. He said he liked people who didn't get captured. Like, you don't make fun of a POW.
When did he say that?
You didn't hear about that either?
No. I just didn't hear him say that he don't like people that got captured.
Oh yeah, he said he likes people who didn't get captured. Because John McCain's plane crashed.
What did John McCain do or say to make him throw a jab at that? Because I've noticed that Trump does not just come out and start bad-mouthing people for no reason without doing anything.
He did not support the strike down of Obamacare without replacing it with something. So he came in, he was sick with brain cancer, came into the Senate floor and gave a thumbs down because there was nothing to replace it. He didn't want all these people to be left without coverage for their pre-existing conditions.
2015.
Yeah. It was
2015?
It was when he was campaigning.
That's what I was wanting to know.
But he started out because McCain and Biden were like really good friends. They did not agree on anything policy-wise, but they were really good friends. And then he didn't go to McCain's funeral. They hated each other. Then He insinuated
Well, John McCain actually said that he didn't want
because they had gotten
Trump
that
to go to his funeral, so
Because they had
that's why
gotten
he
that
didn't
bad.
go to his funeral.
bad. I don't think he would have anyway. But he insinuated that John McCain was burning in hell.
When did he do this? I gotta
God, because it
pull the
flew,
video up.
It flew
Is it a
all
tweet?
over. I know it was some interview or something that he said because John McCain's daughter's on The View, and holy hell, it flew all over her.
Well, The View is a whole
But
nother
her-
story.
Oh yeah, but his daughter is just conservative. But yeah,
I need-
all of that.
What was it that who did Biden? He didn't denounce last night. It was somebody else.
You know, he didn't. It wasn't that he refused to say whether they would pack the Supreme Court or not. That's the only question he really dodged.
Yes, and that's the question that's really got that
I don't think that he's for it, but I don't think that he wants to say no because it includes. There are a subsection of really radical people who are talking about it, and he doesn't
I
want
think a
to
lot
exclude
of
them.
people are
He
talking
said
about
that
it.
at the Burning in Hell thing in June of 2019.
He actually said it.
He insinuated it.
Just
Well,
a scum bucket.
what he's done
But
for America and in America, he's.
I know, I just don't
Have
see
you ever-
the progress that
Have you ever
outweighs
said
what
that
the-
somebody is probably going to burn in hell in your life ever?
after they were already dead and on national platform? Hell no, I wouldn't.
I mean, I ain't saying on national platform. I'm just saying in general.
I wouldn't say that about somebody who was genuinely a good person. Like, I might not have agreed with them, but unless they were a serial killer
I'm
or
just
something
saying that
sick.
that a lot of stuff the media condemns Trump for is the same stuff that we do as everyday citizens.
Well, I'm not saying that people don't say
He
that.
just
That's
does it
not,
on the platform.
It's not the fact that he said it. It's purely because he just doesn't like him. McCain never did anything to him, personally. He just doesn't like him. Never
Okay.
did.
So when you say that he didn't replace Obamacare,
There is no,
whole thing to replace
Yeah.
Obamacare, right?
like, he has signed these executive orders saying, I'm going to do this, but okay, well, it's not been implemented. Like, there's nothing there that people can sign up for
the
to
right to
replace.
try.
But I'm talking about insurance policies that people can sign up for. Because if you take away Obamacare, a lot of people are not going to be without insurance that otherwise would not be able to get it if they re-sign up because they have a pre-existing condition.
Well, I know people that's actually got insurance,
And it's not perfect. It's a lot of people can't afford it.
but
No, it's very
Obama had plans where it was mandatory.
And they
That
did
you
away
had
with
to.
that.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's what I'm saying, but
To
they've
do
done away
away
with that. But the plan was
Ain't that
it's-
what Trump? Ain't that some of the things that Trump's doing? Doing away with where it's mandatory for you to have insurance.
I feel like people should have to have insurance.
Do you feel like people should have to have insurance?
Yeah, because I feel like I don't feel like. I feel like it's a human right to
Do you
have
feel like people
insurance.
have to have insurance?
I feel like they should. I mean, what I'm saying is, I don't feel like it's that big of a deal to enforce insurance because in the long run, I feel like
So-
it balances out the payout.
I go to the doctor and get sick 0 times in a year.
Yeah, but what if you were in a car wreck
Okay, then
and you have zero insurance? This
Then you
hospital
settle
won't
with
see
the-
you. That specialist won't see you. You have
They will
hundreds of
see
thousands
you.
of dollars, and the emergency room will see you.
But they
a
do
lot of
see.
specialists will not see you. Like physical therapy, you have to pay out of pocket,
Okay,
and people
But-
can't afford that.
you
Especially young people,
do
the
get
people
sick.
that are
And then
the ones that don't want it.
Then you also you settle with the insurance companies for, hey, you say, hey, this is what it's going to cost. This is what I'm going to pay. You make them cut a deal with you.
Yeah, well, either way, I
But
feel
they
like
shouldn't have
Obamacare
to
wasn't, when it was
insurance.
implemented, it wasn't like, okay, this is it, we're done. It was something,
Well,
a
it should
foundation that you
it should have never
work
been
on.
implemented to begin with that fast. It crashed. They didn't even have, like, you could like call Google, or you should have got Mark Zuckerberg or people in Google to actually make them a website that like worked. Like, we're America.
I'm not even
and
talking
we
about
couldn't
signing
even
up and all that stuff. I'm
sign
just
up
talking about the
and
foundation of having affordable care, which
yes,
is
I
so
agree.
affordable for everybody.
I
But
agree.
it was something there that you work on. Like, this is your foundation, and then work with it. Like, tweak this, change that, try, implement
I know people
that.
that's got insurance.
And if you're going to take it all away, okay, but have something to stick back in that hole that you
That's
just
what I was
created.
trying to say. I
And
know
there
people that's
is-
got insurance like Blue Cross Blue Shield. They pay so much a month. They get so
Mhm.
much coverage. And this is since Trump's been in office, and they like their insurance that they're getting through that.
And a lot of people do. A lot of people can't. I mean, if you get you get the subsidies, it's more affordable. But a lot of people can't afford it, which is the problem. But that's the whole insurance companies. That's a whole nother.
I mean, how much?
a whole nother issue.
I mean,
But-
you're looking at $600 a month
Mhm.
for insurance. They can't afford that.
A lot of people can't.
I had to pay almost $600 in insurance, and I actually got good insurance.
Yeah, for family insurance, that's good. That's cheap.
What?
$600 a month for family coverage.
I know people
Not
that's
bad.
got Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance that pays, I think it was, I think it was like $600-700 a month. And it was so much, it covered so much throughout the year, and that was their insurance.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You like your insurance, keep your insurance.
No, I'm just saying that they paid out of pocket without a company. They got packages that you can go buy insurance with, like through the care that, like, why can't people go buy that insurance that's $600 a month?
I don't understand what you're saying. People can buy what insurance they want as long as they don't have. I mean, previously a lot of people couldn't because they wouldn't cover you if you had pre-existing conditions, or if you had pre-existing conditions, it was not affordable. They skyrocketed that premium.
Okay, so what's so wrong when you said there was nothing there? They replaced Obamacare and there was nothing there, but people went to Blue Cross Blue Shield by themselves, no group plan, and got actual insurance for almost the same. I mean, don't cover what my insurance covers, but it covers enough
Well,
to
it
get
doesn't
through.
matter. You don't have to use Obamacare was put into place to allow more people access who previously couldn't afford it. That's what it was there for.
Okay, this is basically Obamacare, the Blue Cross Blue Shield's package of Obamacare.
Okay? You don't have to go through healthcare.gov though, do you? To get insurance?
No. But you're missing what I'm
I was
saying.
gonna say, I do not
You're
understand
saying
at all
that
what
he
you're saying.
replaced
He didn't replace anything.
You're saying he didn't replace nothing
No,
of
he created
Obamacare.
something. Oh, are you talking about Trump?
No, yeah, you're saying that he did away with Obamacare.
No, he didn't. He wants to.
That he's
trying to overturn it and get it taken away, but then that takes away insurance for like 20 million people.
But there's still people that can go out and get insurance.
But they can't afford it now. That's the problem. That's why they were on Obamacare.
Okay,
And Obamacare is what insured these people that they are pre-existing
Who are these
conditions. People who were on Obamacare. Before Obamacare existed, pre-existing conditions, they could say, sorry, not gonna cover you, just because. When that was enacted, they said, oh, you can't do that anymore, you have to cover these people.
okay, you said Trump is doing away with Obamacare.
He
It's
wants
not
to, that's his whole plan.
replacing it.
He
Well, I thought
doesn't
you said
have-
he did.
No, he's trying to. He's in the Supreme Court, I think. It went to the Supreme Court and they said, no, you gotta do something else. They bumped it back down, so it's gonna work its way back up again. They had to do something, I forgot what it was.
Okay,
They had to do
but
something.
you got programs like Medicaid, Medicare.
Well, yeah, but Medicaid, you have to
Why
be
do we need
so
another-
extremely poor. You have to be really low income to be Medicaid, unless you have children, like young children. Your children can be on it with a family. It's easier to get a child on Medicaid than it is an adult.
But I'll tell you this, I got one of the few times I did get sick. I went up here to the doc in the box, or the urgent care, and there was a 20-year-old kid that got 13, 14 doctor visits free. Or no, it was like, what did I say, $2? $1 for a doctor visit? And he got to see the doctor 13, 14 times throughout the year on Medicaid, 20 years old. Why is that 20-year-old?
He was probably on
Oh.
SSI of some sort,
SSI.
disability. You have Medicaid. That's a
He
way for
was
people
not disabled.
You don't have to be physically disabled. You could have other stuff. You could have.
I don't think he was mentally disabled
You
either.
don't have to be mentally disabled. There's different things that qualify you, like
Okay, physically disabled,
like
mental
handicapped, physically
disabled.
and handicapped. I'm not talking about necessarily handicapped. I'm talking about medical conditions that will qualify you. There are a lot of them.
ADHD can qualify some people.
Yeah, like I'm saying, you're not disabled with ADHD, but a lot of kids will get on it, SSI for that, which makes no sense to me.
So,
But if you have like
Where-
a pituitary problem and you have to take steroid injections or pills and all that every day so that your blood pressure doesn't drop out and die, like that's something that will be covered for SSI, and you will live a perfectly normal life, but you can stay on that insurance because you have that condition. Trust me, I work in an endocrine clinic. I know these things.
so
I see a lot of people
So
who
you
are on SSI.
got a lot of people that are on SSI. So you admit there's a lot of people. What's SSI? Is Medicaid, Medicare,
It's Medicaid.
Medicaid. So you're telling me that there's a lot of people on Medicaid that shouldn't be.
No, I mean they're covered. I mean it's just they're covered because they're protected by the Disability Act. They're not technically disabled, but they're protected by the Disability Act.
So I'm just saying there's no need for Obamacare when you got other Medicaid, Medicare.
But you have to meet certain qualifications to be on those two things on the different end. You've got to be 65 or on dialysis to be Medicare. There might be other.
Well, that 21-year-old was it. And
And
then
then-
I know
But he was
another
on
person
Medicare.
that was
I'm talking about.
30-something years old or he was a little bit older than I am, that had insurance through Medicaid, Medicare, and there was nothing wrong with him.
Well, there was something going on unless they had somebody working the system within the Medicaid office, because it's really hard to stay on SSI and it's really, really hard to get on Medicare before you're 65 years old.
Medicaid, Medicare is...
Medicare is for old people, Medicaid is for poor people.
Okay. Well, we got
That's an easy way to
Medicaid.
remember it.
We got Medicaid, so why is there another need for?
Because there are people that fall in between that gap, people that are not meeting the poverty guidelines but also aren't 65 years old that can't afford insurance, or insurance companies turn them away because they have some sort of condition that they don't want to pay for.
Well, Trump said last night that he's doing away with, trying to do away with pre-existing injuries and conditions. Did he not?
I didn't hear him say anything about that last night, so I'm not sure. But you have to have something there, because if you repeal Obamacare, a lot of people lose access, period.
I know. What about the peoples that?
I say, if you're going to repeal it, replace it.
What about the people that
And that's what he says he's going to
insurance
do,
went
but we've
up
not seen anything.
on them after Obamacare?
That's what I'm saying. It's not a perfect system. It's the insurance companies. You can't, they're just.
With Obamacare, that's the insurance company. Obamacare.
No, the insurance
Government.
companies are still Blue Cross, and
And they're doing the Obamacare.
they have their plans that's through the Obamacare. It's like there's you get like these specific plans, and you can get subsidies to help you pay for those plans if you meet certain guidelines. But
This is another topic for another
this is
day.
a long
Okay, back to
long
the
discussion.
election. Back to the election
debate.
and debates. Well, election debates. So you said that that you think Biden won.
I don't think that he won. I didn't think that he did great. But I think that if I had to say that somebody lost, it would be Trump. I don't, but in the same time, I'm not saying that Joe did so great that he won.
Okay, if
Trump was just.
If Trump lost, then why is there so many uptick in Proud Boys? Obviously, because you said there was new recruits, right? Now, I'm not condoning Proud Boys or saying I'm not saying that they're good by any means. That's what I'm
Definitely not. They're definitely not.
So, but there is an uptick. You said there's an uptick. So there's obviously people that are on that side of the aisle
Yeah.
that are like,
Because his behavior
Trump.
speaks to those types of people, which is not a good sign.
that
If what you say has you the support of the KKK, of the Proud Boys, of the Boogaloo
how
people.
can he have the support of the KKK when he made them a terrorist organization? So you can't, the whole white supremacy thing's out the window. You can't say anything bad
But
about
they
that.
all support him. All of the white supremacy, racist organizations.
Could it be maybe they support? Could it be maybe they
love
support?
the way he talks about
No.
people.
Maybe they like the get up and work, go to work, make something of yourself. They don't want everything to be given to them or give away from people. Just here's your handout. Socialism, communism. Here's what you
Then
need.
why did his numbers go up last night after he told them to stand by and refuse to say that he would have a peaceful transition and ask his supporters to remain peaceful until we had the election results? That's when their numbers went up. When they thought, oh, we might have an uprising with all this confusion.
Why even get them to announce? Why even bring up that conversation? Why even get him to denounce all this in a peaceful transition? Why even ask that question to begin with? It's
because
baiting him.
But he
You're
is the one that
baiting
talks
him.
about it. He is the one that has these little smart ass remarks when he's at his rallies, like 4 more years, 12 more years, who knows? Like, he would keep himself in
That's
office
funny.
as long as
That's
to
funny.
you. But if he could
You don't
keep
think that's
himself in office,
funny?
no, I think it's terrifying.
Because
I
you think that he's really like
I think that
he would
if
really
he
do
could,
it.
because he finds so much glory in these dictators that he tries to emulate their behavior and kisses their ass when he's talking about them and in their countries. He wants to be like them. If he could be the Vladimir Putin of America, he 100% would be. Oh yeah.
I think that, look, he's lost millions of dollars by taking on to being the president.
Well, I am all for him going back and making his millions. Let him
Okay.
do it.
He lost millions. He came in and got elected because the Americans were tired of Obama and what his socialist.
Okay, he was so middle of the road. He was not socialist.
Obama.
He
just,
was nowhere near as left as the party is today.
Oh, yeah, I understand
But
that.
he was not
I
socialist.
totally
He
get
was
that.
so middle of the road.
I know, because that's how far the party has went today.
But that's exactly.
But where you're moving the goalposts.
But the right is going the other way too. They're getting
Okay.
more. They're getting
You're
closer
moving
and
the
closer to the alt
goalposts.
right.
There you go.
Since Trump has been in presidency.
I'm not talking about alt-right.
But what I'm saying is,
Okay.
people are so.
Are you
people
a
were
never
so,
Trumper?
Well, I am now.
You are now.
Yeah.
So
since
you'll
he's been in
be a
presidency.
never Trumper.
I didn't like him necessarily. Like, I didn't watch The Apprentice.
I didn't like President Trump until he got into office.
Well, see,
To be
I
honest
was
with you.
willing to see how things went until he got into office, and then I was like, this is a shit show. I'm ready for literally anybody else.
I don't want to go back to how we were under Obama. We are rocking and rolling.
But I feel like
Since Trump's been in office, I've had more money, more opportunities, and more things because of my hard work, where you didn't have that.
I don't feel
with-
though that the economy improvements balances out the absolute division that he's stoked in the country.
The division he stoked is by the alt-left that's doing this. You don't have, or the left-leaning, alt-left, Antifa. You don't have,
Antifa didn't even become popular until after Charlottesville.
who's out there burning down the country?
Not Antifa.
Who's burning down the country? Where's all the division at?
I'm not even talking about the protests. Those are
Where's the
triggered
division? You're triggering me right now. I'm triggered.
So,
You're triggering me.
so I noticed that the uptick in hate, we'll say, started on Facebook when Obama was running. You saw every bit of racist underbelly you didn't know was even there in people. And it never got better. When Trump got into office, those
the
people
hate-
that
the people that hate
came
Obama-
out, I'm not even talking about his policy. I'm talking about throwing the N-word out there. I'm talking about people who are saying
I
bring the
don't know
KKK back.
anybody that's phoned in. I haven't seen anybody use
I got
the
all,
N-word.
okay. So I took a 7-year break from Facebook, right?
Yeah.
It was because of that very reason. The things that I was seeing was disgusting.
Have you seen them since you've been back home?
Oh, I
Facebook?
blocked all kinds. I don't even follow half of my family. I block them because the things that they say.
I don't
Or-
see none of the hate, because maybe people that I know ain't hateful, but it's the policies that Obama put in and the things that Obama has caused the reason I don't like him.
Well, what has he caused? That's so bad.
He's caused the division. The
But
division was caused when he was in office. I don't
because
know.
people came out against him. Let me just say the birther movement because he's black.
It's not because he's black.
What other
He's not
reason?
black.
He's biracial.
If you want to, Trump is more black than Obama ever wishes to be.
Oh my God.
From grabbing the pussy, if we can say that, you might have to cash money, throwing billionaire
Okay, so-
lifestyle. He's more
so-
black than
Okay, now
than
wait a second.
Obama.
So are you?
Obama even talks more white than Trump.
Okay,
does.
so that is so stereotypical. I can't believe you just said that. That is not black. Are you talking about the fact he's more ghetto?
No, he's more
Black people are
culture.
not like that. Black
Okay.
people culture is not grabbing pussy.
I ain't listen to music.
Rap music is not black culture. That's
I didn't
rap
say
music.
that
That's like
was-
country music is not white culture.
Okay,
It's
I
country
didn't say
culture.
that though. But you got a large. Okay, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Well, I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's not
Okay.
sounding real good.
Well, you're misunderstanding. Here's the thing, is when you look at who do you look at as the strong black person?
Well,
Martin Luther King, yes.
well, yeah, he wasn't perfect either, but yeah, I mean, he was strong.
Okay, black person. Let's treat people on let's do it on.
You know what I think is a good example? Michelle Obama. She's a good.
Oh my goodness.
She's a classy lady. She's classy.
I quit. This ain't never gonna work. Okay,
What about her is bad? What on earth has she done?
let's
that's
show the
bad?
video where it's like she's got a thing flopping around dancing.
What?
Have you not seen the video of her dancing?
You don't like her because she danced a certain way?
He thinks that it shows that there's a certain way she moves. It makes it look like she's got something in between her legs. That's not for females.
Well,
Look, I do not like Michelle Obama either, or Obama, and it has nothing to do with their skin tone. Has nothing to
I
do
think
with
they
their
are
skin tone.
just absolutely classy human beings. When someone yelled in Obama's face on the Senate floor, yelled at him that he was a liar, he didn't say a word. He just looked at him like he was disappointed in them. That is class.
So just because you can look at somebody and not come back at them,
Not act a fool.
that's
That he
class.
didn't. That he's a great father. He's a great husband. He doesn't talk down to people. He
doesn't talk down to people. Hang on, I gotta pull up some videos of him talking down to people. He talks down to people.
like how? Like
He's talked
what
down
kind
to
of
people.
But and what way?
Just talking down. All you gotta do is pull up any video of him campaigning or anything talking down to people during his campaigns. But the reason that I don't like Obama is because first of all, he wasn't even for gay marriage or
Oh, he
anything.
was.
No, he
but
wasn't.
he couldn't
He-
say it. get
What do
elected.
you mean he was?
He
He
said
wasn't
that he
the
was,
first
but
time.
He said he couldn't say the country wasn't in the right. It was slowly moving that direction. He felt like he could not say that while he was campaigning. He had to wait until he was in office to make any sort of stance on that, to make it to where it was going to be.
So he could just
legal.
move the goalpost.
A lot of people say that. That's like people temper what they're.
He can
gonna
move the goalpost. So he moves the
But that's
goalpost.
what every politician does when they're campaigning. They always campaign on something and then it slides one way or the other when they're in office.
Yeah, but when you come out and say, no, you're not for this, And then 4 more years later, when you realize you already got the black vote, because Democrats usually always have the black vote, and plus he's black, so you have people just voting for him because he was black. And now, to stay in office, you need to pick up the gay and lesbian vote, and you automatically do that by letting them get married. Whether you think gay or lesbian people should get married or not, that's how I felt like he did. And he caused so much divide in this country, not standing up for America, putting America back divisive, because he just was. I mean, during Bush, we were all together. Okay, let's take this. The whole world the whole United States came together in 2001 after
Not
9/11.
because
9/11.
of anything that, it was because our country was attacked, not because Bush brought us together.
Okay,
It was the
well, I didn't
result
say
of
that.
the trauma.
I didn't say that. I said we was all together in 2001.
Yeah, briefly.
Okay, briefly. So we all started falling apart since we were together when Obama took office.
No, it started before that. Do you not remember the signs and I even remember people's bumper stickers that said somewhere in a village is missing their idiot? They were talking about President Bush. Like, it started that he got us into the war, there were no weapons of mass destruction, it was like this whole big thing.
Well,
Do what?
They were trying to make it like it was over oil.
Yeah.
that's not why I didn't.
People started swinging way back towards, that's the
That's
pendulum,
not
that's
why
how it
I
happens.
didn't like Obama. I believe that that Obama has divided and split the country more than President Trump ever did.
And I think
He
that is
divided-
delusional.
He divided the country into going around giving all these just talks about black folks do not have it as good as white folks speeches. That's dividing the country right there in
That is
itself.
already there. That's just speaking to experience.
Well, you're separating the country more and more and more and more. Not during the shootings that were shot where he got on national television, and he, instead of letting it play out like Brown in Ferguson, that Ferguson was reaching for the cop's gun. He was a bad person, Michael Brown. The cop shot him justifiably, but
Wait, which one was Michael Brown?
the Ferguson one, the one that
Was that not the little boy?
No,
What was the little boy?
the little boy was Trayvon Martin.
No, not Trayvon. One of them was a little boy who had a toy gun.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know his name, but
That's so bad that there's so many
Yeah,
that they run
that
together.
one's-
That's so sad.
there's not really that many that they run together. You can go up and look up white people that get shot, but then you just don't ever hear about them. What's sad is 30 people in Chicago got shot and killed over 4th of July weekend.
He was 18.
What?
The guy that was shot was 18.
The kid
In the Ferguson shooting.
was 18, Michael Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He was huge. And then he was a big guy. I mean, he was. He was a pretty big guy. He was bigger than I was. If he was coming after me and trying to pull my gun, I'm going to do what I have to do to stop him from doing it. And if he was attacking me, and he was big enough to where I'm going to pick up something and hit him with it if he's coming after me. But instead of letting that trial play out and everybody getting the facts, he goes and says, oh, there's this big divide in the country. He gets on national television and condemns it. The way that the news media and the Trayvon Martin thing made the shooter out to be white, when the shooter was Hispanic was terrible, and what did he get off and mouth off during all that, where it's just bad for black people in America, it's bad, and you know, police, he didn't take up for none of the police during that. That's dividing the country. Or
that George Zimmerman wasn't a police officer.
He didn't take up for George Zimmerman or
He
let the
shouldn't have.
details come
It was
out
a community
of that.
watch. He had no place shooting a little boy.
Okay, if somebody is walking,
If you are a community like night watch, you know, that's people who just live in the community.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open. Call the police. If you feel like somebody is that threatening, this was a 14-year-old boy, not a big boy, a small 14-year-old boy in a
Okay.
hoodie.
that was not supposed to be there.
Well, so what? He didn't deserve to die.
Well, no, nobody deserves to die. But the way that the way he handles these situations and makes it more divisive, instead of keeping the country together, you're ripping the country apart with black and white. Instead of saying that
I
anybody
don't
in
think
today's
talking about race rips the country apart. You don't highlight the diversity. We're not all alike, and we don't all live the same. We don't have the same experiences. If you don't talk about the different experiences,
But when you get on national television and you say that Michael Brown and Ferguson and you divide the country, you got part of the country that are blacks are saying Michael Brown shouldn't have got shot. He was not dead, or he wasn't doing anything wrong. Wasn't dead. Of course, he wasn't dead.
he shouldn't have been shot. He wasn't dead. We only shoot dead people here.
Yeah, but when you get on there and you talk about that, and the media splits you apart into white and black, then and you don't come in as a country and say this has nothing to do with white and black. This is a bad guy that killed somebody. Let's don't make it a racial issue. Let's don't do that. Let's make it a person killed another person, and that's what happened.
Yeah, but
So see, a lot of things the left tries to make the right seem like it's racist, and the right is not racist. Even a lot of the further right are not racist. It's you're conservative and you don't believe in systemic racism.
okay, we got a whole nother show on that. I've got a whole bunch of information on that. We're on
Yeah.
that's a whole other conversation.
But,
But that's where we differ. I feel like
I just
a lot
think
of
that he
these shootings-
divided the country.
a lot people, we were already divided. That racial divide was already there.
It was not to the level that it was
Oh,
at.
it's always fun. You remember, I mean, I was little. You were older than me. The 90s? I mean, talk about racial divide.
I remember the 90s.
The,
and
you
I
know, the
wasn't
riots and
92?
Fights in school.
What?
We had a race battle at school. Like a race war.
Yeah, but you got different schools and that did that. But for the majority,
but I mean, this was countrywide. It was national
I didn't.
news. Like, I even just watched a documentary about Los Angeles in the 90s, and it was just like talking about it was just being on fire. Because people were starting fires, or all these riots over police brutality to the black community specifically.
Well, I don't know about Los Angeles and the 92 riots. I know that they riot. I was too young. I didn't even hear about that or know about that. The first thing that I remember in the news was OJ. And he was a football player that's really the first, I don't know when was that, 90,
What year was that?
95, 94,
I was little.
96.
I didn't know who he
96 or
was.
97.
I didn't know
I think
who
it was
he was
96.
because I didn't watch pro
I didn't
football
know.
at
I
that
didn't.
point, but
I knew he was a football player.
I
That's
knew
all.
he was famous.
Yeah, because I was in 8th grade and we watched it, the trial in class. 95. January 24th, 95.
I was 10 years
I
old.
just remember hearing his name on TV constantly.
And a lot of people say he got off because of the 92 riots and everything that was going off. That's why he didn't go to jail for killing 2 white people.
And he was like, before that happened, like the most beloved black person in sports.
But I don't understand how you can get off for murder and
And then go to
determine-
jail for stealing your own
Well,
memorabilia.
not necessarily that. They found him not guilty of the murder or manslaughter or whatever, but then the families turned around and sued him, and they won their lawsuits.
Oh, and he wrote a book after that about how he would have committed the perfect murder. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, if they don't tell you he's guilty, then I don't know what does.
Yeah.
that's the same
But-
thing with the Breonna Taylor thing. Her family won the wrongful death suit, but then the police weren't charged. So it's like, what was wrong
Well,
about it then if they didn't
right.
charge it anything? You know, I don't know.
Well, with the Breonna Taylor thing, since you just brought up the Breonna Taylor, there's also, they had evidence going back 2 or 3 years of her and her ex-boyfriend. There's a dude that does a podcast that actually, I need to get my phone and get he does a really good job of explaining it. So her boyfriend and ex-boyfriend, they already had footage of the houses, people selling drugs, people coming in and out, pictures. They got everything. So when the cops did the no-knock raid that they said they did, they knocked. So tell me what police officers that go in there and knock but don't announce that they're police officers.
But that we don't know that they did or didn't because there's so many different.
There's witnesses that were there that said
There are
that they
some,
knocked.
but there are just as many that said that they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Okay.
boyfriend says that they didn't.
Well,
So he's the only one that is alive to tell like what he heard. She's not alive.
well, they were standing.
But the person that the drug ring that they were investigating had nothing to do with them too. It was with this other man, and he was already in jail.
Okay, they got, now hang on. They got her boyfriend now that said, get in touch. There's actually footage, recordings, telling them to get in touch with that guy. So her boyfriend now was also into the thing, and she was willing and dealing for the boyfriend in the past. All over it. They got pictures days leading up to it. Of her interactions and stuff going on. So when they went into that house, they went into the house, they knocked, and one of them took a shot in the leg with Breonna Taylor and him standing in the hall. And then that's when they started opening fire back. One shot off into another building, which he should have gotten trouble for.
There is no definitive proof that the shot was actually from the boyfriend, the ballistics. We don't have that because there was also that same type of gun was what do they call it, the little backup piece, like the clutch piece, was for one of the police officers, so they think that it could have been friendly fire. We don't know. They haven't released the stuff. They got that delay on the grand jury stuff. They've delayed.
I didn't hear
all
what
the
you said.
evidence.
I didn't see.
I was saying you need to get the baby soon.
It's getting late.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
ready?
Okay.
That's almost
Well, I don't want to do. I feel like this is going to be cut off of me being racist, and I'm not racist, so I don't want to play that racist thing.
I'll say I don't,
Because I mean, I don't like Obama, but it has nothing to do with his race.
and I don't. Honestly,
So I kind of
I
want to cut
don't
that
think
out.
that you're racist, but I don't think that you will ever understand the black experience either. So you're never gonna really believe it fully that there's a difference.
Because I listen to black folks that say that there's no such thing as systemic racism.
Listen to this.
That you got to knuckle butt down, that you got to...
Okay, well look at it this way. People get tired of like black people saying that, but do they not realize that Native Americans are just left out in the left field? And look what happened to Native Americans. I mean, our land was taken away from us. The women and children were murdered. I mean, and that's my background. Do you not think I get tired of hearing and everybody talking about that and not talking about my history?
That's systemic too.
How did not that... But you got it better, though.
Why? Because my dad bought a piece of land and left it to me when he died? The government?
And that is my whole argument on systemic racism.
Listen to this. Okay. It's called systemic because it's ingrained in nearly every way people move through society. Policies, practices, institutions like banks, schools, company, government agencies, law enforcement.
How's it affected during these?
Listen. It shows that this data, different data, and this is the Business Insider thing that I was looking at. And it said that they exist in nearly every facet of American life, including employment, wealth, education, home ownership, healthcare, and incarceration. So, this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 54% of employed Asians worked in management, professional, and related occupations.
And that's culture. You know why they do that? You know why that is?
Well, it's...
You know why Asians work in management more than anybody?
A lot of them, they go to school and they get high-paying jobs.
Yeah, but you know why that happens? It's part of their culture. Asians people will get disowned. They get disowned by their family if they don't provide and show their worth in their family. Their family will disown them. That's why they're so good. That's why they achieve so high. It's because if you don't show your worth to your family in that culture, then you'll be disowned. So you strive harder. You work harder to succeed. See, that's not engraved in Americans.
They're also more likely to be hired because they don't have darker skin tones. That's just what data has shown. But it says when Black and Asians whitened their resumes using American or white sounding names, they got more callbacks for corporate interviews. This says that 25% of Black candidates received callbacks when they whitened their resumes, and only 10% got callbacks when they left ethnic details on their resume. In 2019, they said that they looked at...
Do you not think this had stuff with culture, though?
Do what?
You don't think that's because of culture? The way the culture is?
Culture, that's part of the systemic thing. That's why it's every part of society. That includes culture.
Okay, well, then I guess I agree that there is such thing as systemic. Because this is what I do agree. I don't know if it's systemic or not. I believe that the reason that Asians do so good is because they're made to do good.
But they also change.
And
it's like when people
another
come over,
thing,
like when you go get your nails
another
done,
thing,
the person's name is not actually Kim or Ken. That's their white names, their American names.
Actually, that's their last names.
But they do change. I mean, they legitimately change their first names.
Yeah, Kim and Ken are extremely popular names in that culture.
Because those are just two examples. I had one. Her name was Jenny, and I could not pronounce her other name, but that's just part of society. Instead of us learning their real names, we're like, no, we're gonna call you Jenny. That's easy to say, you know. But that's
I don't
they
think
do
that's
to
how that
acclimate.
works.
That's really what happens. I promise.
I do not think they go, we're going to call you Jenny.
No, we don't give them their name. They pick their name, but they have an Asian name and they have an American name. They have two names. They really do.
Well, that's because they want two names.
It's because they're more accepted with, like, when they apply for jobs
No, wait a
and all
minute.
that.
Time out. You're talking about going and getting your nails done from Asians.
And I'm just saying,
That
but that's
you
just
don't
so,
want to go to a genie to get your nails done because you want to go to an Asian woman to get your nails done because
what I'm saying is, I don't care what
Right.
the name is, but society,
Right.
we have told them that we're not going to learn your name. It's too hard for us to pronounce.
you think society really has done that?
Yeah.
Society does not do that.
Yes, they do. You're so, like, in a bubble if you don't see that.
No, I don't think society is telling Asians they got to change their name. This Asian person
Well, I don't think
owns
that
their nail
We tell them that
salon.
they absolutely
They-
have to.
they-
They have learned
they
that if
own-
they do this, they have better outcomes. We're not forcing them. They have learned through experience.
No, I think that maybe just it's easier to pronounce and you don't have to sit there and talk about pronouncing your name 5 million times because
But if
people
I go to you
actually
and
want
I go
to go.
Roger, and I couldn't pronounce Roger, I said, no, I'm going to call it, you need to find a different name. I can't pronounce that. Instead of sitting there and learning how to pronounce it, after you learn it, you know it.
I know, but I'm just saying that I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people want to go to Asian and Chinese people to get their nails done. So making them change their name has nothing to do with it. They're actually in culture. And then also where I talked about it because he said this is actually a college student that said this, Asian, that told me about that their family, his dad and mom, are disowning them.
Oh, yeah,
That's
well,
why they got
like
the little
bring-
kids
well,
that
they bring
that sit
honor.
there and
Well,
prick
that's
their
it.
eyeballs
they bring
out
honor
and
to
prick
their
their.
family. That's why they say if you're an Asian, you're a first American, like generation American, your parents immigrated, they want you to be a lawyer or a doctor. That's what they go to because that is the fastest way to flip the narrative and they become successful Americans.
Then why hasn't black people figured this out?
Because they weren't prevented from doing it for that long. Black people were prevented from doing all this stuff.
It takes one generation to flip the
But
narrative.
listen, okay, it goes for, okay, so.
One generation to
But a lot
flip
of
the
these
narrative.
Asian kids have good educations a lot of times.
They got a father. That's what they got. That black people don't got. Give me. Where's my phone at? I'll show it to you.
Okay, let's
Okay,
listen. Only 8.7 of the 675 companies in the Fortune 500 has CEOs of color. And then,
I think that
while in the 116
I do know that one.
Congress, which came into session after 2018 midterms, was the most diverse ever. Only 57 of the 535 voting members of Congress are black. In 2018, the average black worker earned just 62% of what the average white person that worked made. There's a similar disparity in household level. The lower incomes mean that the poverty rate of black families is twice that of white families. There are about 6 times as many white Americans as black Americans, but the aggregate wealth held by white people are 17 times that of black people. In 2018, the typical black woman earned 66% of what the typical white man made.
You said black woman.
I said, so the equal pay day for a particular race or gender group marks how many extra days you'd have to work in a year to make that of what a typical white man makes. So based on the figures of 2019, the median black woman worker would have to work 226 extra days to make what her white male counterpart made the previous year. That's almost a whole another year.
Okay,
What's your name, man? Sean.
this debate right here.
So, Sean, I find this.
Sean
do
is the
you
black
agree
guy,
with what was just stated there as a black male?
and he don't agree with anything that was stated by these two white
What part do
women.
you disagree?
Well, first off, the statistics about like black crime and police brutality overly affecting black males. I mean, we have to look at crime statistics. So yes, black males are overrepresented in prisons, but black males are also overrepresented in crime statistics. So black males are like what, like was it like 6% of the 6-7% of the population?
Right.
6% of the population because black females are 7%.
Yeah.
I know this is a
think
long
it's
break.
total
We're going
it's
to put this
somewhere
up on the
around 13.
screen.
Yeah, total is 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you take all that into account, then you have to consider. Okay, so why are they overrepresented in crime? And the reason why, I mean, in my opinion, it's a lot of it is economic, a lot of it is cultural, a lot of it is the opportunities available in their areas, and people can make the argument that it's because of white oppression. I don't
That's
necessarily
just
think
gonna-
it's because of white oppression. I think it has a lot to do with the welfare state. I think it has a lot to do with democratic policies and liberal policies, pushing agendas upon black people instead of giving them agency and allowing them to make their own decisions.
She left. I was hoping that she would actually hear what you have to say here. Let me ask you, do you attend TCU?
I do.
How did you get in?
I spent 9 years in the Air Force and got a scholarship for it.
Appreciate it.
He worked for his education.
Psychology and philosophy, so I'm actually
Okay, psychology on the liberal arts side, yeah. Well, listen, if you make less than a civil engineer, don't blame it on a white-black thing. You chose a degree that's kind of rough.
I just want to enjoy my career, whatever it is.
There you go. Well, listen, that sounds like something that would be, especially after 8 years in the Air Force?
9 years.
9 years, geez. Sorry, I looked something like 9. Did it right. So you were in the Air Force, this is what got your scholarship. Do you believe that your path was more difficult to TCU exclusively because of your race?
No, I don't think it's because of my race. I think it's because, I was raised by a single mother. My dad left when I was really young.
Sorry.
My mom had to work really hard to, just get me through school. I made really poor decisions early on in life, and the military was really the only way I could go. And honestly, I learned a lot in the military. I got a lot of, I learned responsibility.
Self-responsibility. He's not blaming anybody for his actions. He's taking up for his actions, his ownership. He made
specifically to TCU, but
poor decisions in his youth.
well aware of when we can agree their scholarships, obviously
Yeah,
afforded
yeah,
exclusively to
he was from a-
minorities or women not afforded to white male. How do you feel about that as a black man? Do you think that
But
helps?
if he would have,
No. And actually, we were just talking about this. Actually, I was,
Well, the Asian, you can't talk with him. They'd be dominating every math and science department there is.
So I just came from the Bay Area.
Gotta build a wall around their neighborhood just so we can keep some people getting degrees. Trying to allow.
Asian privilege.
Yeah, I know.
I just came from the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, and I mean, you see there, like, Asian prosperity is huge.
Oh yeah.
They're doing really well, and like, good on them. And I think, like, honestly, if the black culture adopted a lot of those tenets of like Asian culture, and like, hey, suck it up, like, go out there and get it and do it yourself. And like, it was interesting, like, a lot of rappers supported Trump, and they said the reason why is because they said, that's what Trump is about. He's like, go out there and get it, make your money, do what you have to do to make your money.
Right.
And I think, like, that's, people talk about that, but they don't really go out and do it. And like, there's not a lot of talk about different ways and diversifying your means of income.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities out there if you just go out there and look for them and get it. And honestly, like, people are willing to give black people opportunities.
Well, I'm sure, here's the deal. I understand that there are racists out there, and I think it's kind of like a child who just misbehaves so often, you have to discipline them. You kind of see this with the left. Like, if a child behaves well, okay, you don't have to correct them all the time. But when the left constantly just divides by race and by gender, then you have to bounce back and say, well, hold on a second, no, that's actually inaccurate. The truth is, it kind of bars us, it robs us of our ability to be empathetic to someone saying, yeah, you know what, I'm sure you get some tough breaks to the black guy, because we're constantly being told you can't understand and you've gotten everything because you're a white guy. I think it actually
That's how
burns more
I feel.
bridges than it builds.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think Asians think when they're saying you're too much? They're actually that, they only allow a certain amount of Asians in a certain
he comes in
country.
in a minute and talks.
3 to 5 ACT points, top GPA going to college. Like, I'm at USC, me and my friend, he's African American, I'm white, he's based on Asian. Basically have the same exact demographics.
You forgot?
White American. And I had a 32 and a 4.5, and he had a 27 and like a 3.8. He got Like, we had basically the exact same everything else. Just because he was African American, I was Asian. And I.
Okay. Now, right there, is that fair? That black guy got in, but that Asian guy didn't? They had the same exact scores?
Well, no, I don't think that that's necessarily right, but
That's
that is in place
but wait a
for
minute,
just for
that's, hang on.
purposes.
That is what we're doing. That's to even out to help with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're holding smarter people back that deserve it just as much.
And that's an unfortunate byproduct of
What's going on?
yeah.
Got penalized because of my privilege because I was overrepresented academics on scholarship.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, here, you want to go up? Actually, no, you can stay here. Well, let's get like a buddy cop film. Sir. What's your name, sir? Damn it, sir, my hands are freezing. Hold on, my lips aren't blue. Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that about your ACT scores and how your friend who was African American got in and you didn't. This is one thing that I've always, and I'm glad we finally look, we can bridge this racial divide. It's like the black and white cookie, Seinfeld. When you think about that, right, they start blocking Asians out because you guys do very,
That's
very
like black, white, and
what do you think that does to the relationship
strawberry.
between Asian Americans?
It's like the whole
and black
ice
Americans?
cream.
That's always a concern of mine. I mean,
All
it's
right there tied into one.
Listen, I grew up in Canada, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of Asians behind closed doors, little bit racist in Canada. I'm sure there's some of that here too. It seems like it would strain relationships, not really bring people together.
Yeah, I know.
Mexicans are actually the most racist out of everybody.
Academics first, and academics averages. Like with the whole shaming your family kind of like concept you see.
Guatemalans, Mexicans.
Right. Like media, like they talk about.
When I grew up with Mexicans, I didn't feel like they were really racist.
Who was it?
Actually, very true. So like,
They were from Mexico.
I like that some in Guatemala, they were
I've met some people
Say,
that are
I didn't grow up with
very.
anybody who was like South American. My grandfather was the manager of the Metacraft plant, and he basically was the supervisor of all Mexicans, and they lived at our house essentially. I mean, we'd have parties and stuff. So
I had quite a few call me some bad names. They didn't think that I understood.
But hang on, listen to the way his family structure is.
And I know the African American, especially in the inner cities, like academic excellence, achievement is very shunned upon, especially with like the gangs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the inner city, it's shunned upon to be smart.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
He said it's shunned upon. It's looked down on to be smart in the inner cities.
And I think it's just because of, it's not because of the systematic racism in America. I think it's all culture. Like, he said, like, his dad left him, very sorry about that. But like, yeah, the African American single motherhood rate during the civil rights movement was what, like 13-50% depending on the city, or it's now upwards of 70-80% in the inner cities, and that's not because of racism from white people. That's because of the shift in culture in the inner cities.
Do you agree with what he's saying there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do
Black
with
guy
culture, like,
really agrees with what he just
tell
said.
people that, you know, oh, well, you can't do anything in life because you have this overlord above you, oppressing you. Then, like, what is your, you're not gonna have any optimism. You're not gonna have any aspirations to achieve anything in life.
Right.
Because you're like, what's the point?
That's why I tried to. That's
Hey,
why.
I don't feel like there's people telling them, like an overlord preventing them from being successful.
But you know, that's why I say that there's no such thing as systemic racism.
So what I'm
and
saying,
stuff.
when I
It's
talk
'cause-
about like that type of thing is the income gap that I mentioned, how a black woman would have to work 226 extra days to make the medium wage of the white male counterpart worker. Like,
Okay, well, it's also like this. What fields are they going into? Like, actually, if you look at statistics of people under
this is
30,
median, this is median and median.
if
So
you
this
look
is-
at statistics under 30, there's actually white women that make more than white men because of the careers.
Well,
Like,
yeah, well,
you
yeah.
go into nursing, there's more
That's why they do
nurses.
the median.
Yeah, but you go into nursing and stuff, you're going to make more money than.
Depends on what.
Oh yeah.
Depends on where you work. but
We're
let's
gonna
see,
put this
the
video
white
up.
and black people college degrees have increased. So that's something. But even though that the government desegregated schools, about half of the students in the U.S. still attend either predominantly white or black schools. And for each student enrolled in the average non-white school, the district receives $2,226 less than the white school district. The poor white school district receives about $150 less per student than the national average. And I mean, that by itself is just not fair.
I mean, I didn't. One person told me that he went to a trade school, and he was wondering why kids were outside smoking and not in school. The teacher actually told him, "You try to get them to come in class." And that was a black school that was ran. The teacher actually gave up on them kids because and that lacks from being a father in the household. And it's happening now more mainly with the black community that it's happened to more. The fathers out of the household more due to incarceration or due to it's okay to go out and bang women and have a bunch of kids, different baby mamas, because it's culturally accepted through music and other things. Like he was saying, it was just not, you get made fun of for being smart, so you would act like you wasn't smart.
Yeah, it's like, especially in like rough neighborhoods, I would imagine, you know, like when a gang is the dominant force in a neighborhood, you know, they want the kids to join, they don't want them to be in school, that type of thing. Yeah, that's totally, it's sad, but it's understandable that that's happening.
And that has nothing to do with racism.
No, a lot of that.
All that has nothing to do with racism.
A lot of that is them just being poor
and it's starting
doing
to,
what they can to make money fast.
And it's starting to affect white communities too, not having fathers. More and more white communities are not having fathers. And this one goes out to my mother. Thank you I would be in prison. I'll be one of them kids that was in prison. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I'm not in prison and I'm here making this video and I got a wife and a daughter and all this stuff goes to show you what, you know, she did. But at the same time, that's why I'm saying fathers need to get back into communities. Fathers need to stay in the households. Fathers need to be a dominant force, because when you got Brandon or Tyrone or Billy Bob, whoever it is that's growing up teenager, and they say, well, I'm going to go blah, blah, blah. Because that's what teenagers do. And you got mama that's saying no or this or that. What are they going to really do? They ain't going to hurt a teenager that's 15, 16 years old by whipping them. But a man would knock the backhand you and you'll be down and you ain't going to get back up and go outside or go party, or you're going to be home because you know that this and all that. And that's where it stems from. I believe it has nothing to do with race. Now, if you want to talk about putting crack in the inner cities in the 80s, we can talk about that. But that has nothing to do with
no, crack
races.
and cocaine were everywhere. Crack was just cheaper, so it was in the inner cities because it was more affordable.
Well,
but
they also say
sentence,
CIA put it in the inner cities. But let's wrap this up, and we will start back right here on episode 3 because I feel like there is things.
There is still more to talk about
There's
with this
still a lot
systemic
more
racism argument
systemic
because I've
racism.
got a
We ain't
lot
even
more on
touched
here
the-
that I'd like to get your opinion on.
There's not touching the surface. We're not actually just barely touching the surface
Oh yeah.
when it comes to this. And